Located around 185 kilometers northeast of the Pyramids of Giza, the city of Tanis was a place of great significance in ancient times. It was known as the City of the Sun and was a sacred site dedicated to the god of the sun and creation, Ra. But this is what the city looked like the day it was discovered in 1878. The soil in the area can barely support life, save for a few thorny bushes, priceless statues with scorch marks, gigantic stone pillars smashed and long forgotten. In this video, we're going to explore whether this place was cursed and destroyed by the gods, or simply abandoned and forgotten by time. But first, a bit of background. A city steeped in mystery and ancient lore has been known by many names throughout the ages. The ancient Egyptians call it Janet. The Old Testament speaks of it as Zoar. Today, it is known as San el Hagar, but to most, it is still known by its Greek name, Tanis. Tanis was the ancient capital of Egypt. According to Egyptologists, it was first established during the 21st dynasty, 1069 to 945 BC, and replaced the city of Thebes as the capital city of Egypt and its centre of power. However, the discovery of massive Old Kingdom statues and artifacts hint at a far more ancient origin for this place. Its layout included an enormous temple complex devoted to the god Amun, a royal palace, and residential areas. These temples were made using granite pillars, estimated to have been 20 to 30 tons in weight. The pillars were dug out, carved, and transported over 1,000 kilometers from the Aswan quarry in southern Egypt, a feat that would be a massive undertaking today with modern cranes and trucks. Fortifications, including walls and gates, were built to defend the city from invaders, with massive 70-foot thick walls encircling the city, reaching a towering height of 50 feet. The walls were constructed of mud bricks, over 20 million of them, and adorned with hieroglyphs and intricate reliefs. But unfortunately, there is very little remains of the walls today due to millennia of erosion. Beyond its spiritual significance, there has been some truly staggering megalithic artifacts found at Tanis. The first study of Tanis dates back to 1798 during Napoleon Bonaparte's expedition into Egypt, where he took two pink granite sphinxes and housed them in the Louvre, where they remain to this day. Countless massive solid granite statues and artifacts have been found and are on display at museums all over the world, and at Tanis itself, which has been left as an open-air museum. But perhaps most amazingly of all is the giant colossus foot. Flinders Petrie, who excavated at Tanis in the late 1800s, said in his report that he estimates the statue to have been around 100 feet tall, based on scalings of other colossi that we have found. This is mind-boggling and would have been double the size of the colossi of Memnon. How could a so-called primitive civilization have carved and transported something weighing an estimated 1,500 tons using nothing but copper chisels and wooden rollers really boggles the mind. That is the equivalent in size to the Statue of Liberty and the weight of 1,500 family cars. In 1939, the French Egyptologist Pierre Montet made one of the most spectacular archaeological finds in Egypt's history, uncovering a royal tomb complex at the ancient city of Tanis, containing 3 intact burial chambers. The treasures within these tombs were nothing short of magnificent, including golden masks, bracelets, tableware, necklaces, and ornate sarcophagi. Had it not been for the outbreak of World War II, these treasures would have become world famous and at least matched the notoriety received by Howard Carter in the Valley of the Kings. Even today, few people are aware of Montet's discoveries at Tanis, and despite being on display at Cairo's Egyptian Museum, they attract far fewer visitors than their more famous counterparts. The exact cause of the decline and eventual abandonment of the city of Tanis is not well documented in ancient sources. However, it is believed that a combination of factors led to its decline. Egyptologists suggest that it was likely due to a shift in political power and the rise of new cities in the Nile Delta. after the end of the 21st dynasty, Thebes was re-established as the capital of Egypt, and later on, other cities like Sais and then Alexandria took the role of capital. Another reason that Egyptologists give is the changing course of the Nile River. The city was located on the eastern branch of the Nile Delta, and as the river shifted its course over time, it may have caused flooding and erosion in the area, making it less suitable for habitation. However, let's explore some of the other possibilities. As if the city was just simply abandoned, then one would think that the inhabitants would simply take their belongings with them, and not leave hoards of treasure behind. Let's take a look at the photographs from when Tanis was discovered. The destruction of the site is of biblical proportions. As I mentioned previously, Tanis was the biblical city of Zoan, and here is what the Bible says about its destruction in Ezekiel 30:14. I will lay waste to Upper Egypt, set fire to Zoan, and inflict punishment on Thebes. Another possibility is that Egypt has been a battleground for thousands of years due to its fertility and strategic position. Just some of the invading armies passing through the region over the years include that of Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC, the Sassanid Persians around the 7th century AD, and several crusades around the 11th century AD. Heavy fighting in the area could have caused this devastation that we see today. Egypt has also been hit by several earthquakes over the years, and earthquakes could definitely have contributed to some of the damage seen. However, there are so many ancient sites in Egypt that are not in this condition. It also doesn't explain the fire damage shown on any of the artifacts. This is one of the statues that was found. It shows clear scorched stone on the right side of its face. To cause this effect to granite, then temperatures need to exceed 1200 degrees. Could this have been deliverance from the wrath of God, a lightning strike, a meteor airburst, or simply a marauding army fighting its way through the area in the centuries since its abandonment? One possible explanation for the scorched stone could be Greek fire. Greek fire was a powerful incendiary weapon employed by the Eastern Roman Empire starting around 672 AD. It was used to set fire to enemy ships and was made up of a combustible mixture that was projected from a flame-throwing device. Some historians believe that it may have been able to ignite upon contact with water, and was likely made from a combination of naphtha and quicklime. Ancient Architects YouTube channel has a brilliant in-depth video on this theory that I suggest you check out after this. So what do you think happened here? Was this a catastrophic natural disaster that laid waste to this prominent ancient site? A massive battle in the area that destroyed the priceless artifacts? Or do you believe the biblical accounts that it was the destructive hand of God to punish the inhabitants for worshipping false idols? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if there's any other topics that you'd like me to cover, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay curious.